My name is Tanya Curry, and this is this week's Acumen Media Report. It's entitled, "They Killed Our Jungle Oats." American. Are there tigers in your streets in Johannesburg? South African. Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir, there are. Sheba the tiger escaped her owner, and for a few days she roamed the valleys of Walkerville. For a few days she was free. For a few days she was wild. She made headlines across the world, and for the first time in history, the Americans were right. Tiger Queen. It's time to claw the surface with Acumen Media. We read the news so you don't have to. These weekly ramblings are where I find my sanity after reading the news and social media posts all day and every day. This report keeps me sane, and to be fair, it isn't difficult to make fun of South Africa, but it is difficult to feel cheerful after the death of our tiger. I say our because South Africa has had all sorts of emotions about our roaming kitty. She was nicknamed Jungle Oats, a home staple from Tiger brands. And I stand with Sheba, Go Sheba became trends. There was a rollout of memes, and that they kept us laughing. This ensued while the residents of Walkerville remained terrified. The fear was amplified by them living in darkness for most of the week. It's always a bit scary in the dark, isn't it? Scarier when you can't see. Sheba, our endangered tiger, makes a great essay analogy for Eskom. We would all like a happy ending, and of course we don't get one. They shot Sheba. I know you're going to say they euthanized her, but please think, if they did, they would have been close enough to put a dart in that big cat. They didn't. They didn't tranquilize the endangered kitty and send her to a rehabilitation center in Asia. That would make us happy. Ain't nobody got time for that, so they shot her. They shot her because they could not shoot the lights out. Nothing exceptional can happen while cables and diesel are being stolen. There are no lights to shoot out. But shoot something, and now we lost Sheba the tiger too. I cannot explain my fury. Well, I can. Ferocious as a tiger I was. Unreasonably angry, some may say. Even Rusta's painting of Jungle Oats didn't cheer me up. We could have done better. The person who bought and owned an endangered animal as a pet in a climate that doesn't suit it should be behind bars. A bit like Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. But nah, this is a South African story. She kept our attention though, and with almost 200,000 engagements and a sentiment chart that shows a massive dip to the downside the moment we heard she was killed, we have remained here. Seems I'm not alone in my sadness and anger. Rest in peace, Sheba, our Jungle Oats. You stole our attention, you won our hearts. See here, pit bulls and tigers, we don't care. We just snuff them out because we humans know better. Just look at Eskom. They massacred chickens, 40,000 of them. Can someone euthanize this story? Let's first check in with our prayers, seeing that I left you on a cliffhanger last week. He had a good start. That interdict was granted and Dolly was schooled by Sutherland, but don't worry, there's an appeal. Just keep reading, keep listening. Uncle Cyril didn't go to the World Economic Forum, the WEF, because he said he had an electricity crisis to deal with. Most people said he made wild promises last time, like we all have wings and we all can fly and tigers roam the streets in Johannesburg. I thought he'd go and get more cash, to be honest, but I was a little proud when he said he'd stay for us instead. But yep, that earlier explanation makes a great deal more sense because he hasn't addressed the electricity crisis. It's no longer a crisis, President Ramaphosa. It's untenable, and it's breaking the purse you politicians keep digging into. This free for politicians ATM is broken now, and we are fast making our own arrangements, thanks very much. Soon we won't pay anything at all. Well, we're also doing that now, but you know what I mean. I read an amazing active letter to South Africa by Mike Sharman. He calls open letters lame. I like that. His words are bang on. Come on, South Africa, grab your corner and get on with it. Harness the sun and fix your street. That's all it takes. I know it sounds trite, but rise from the ground up. No, man, not like that. Not looting and burning mayors' houses. Just rise and fix. Escape this political enclosure and reach out to your neighbor. Put your noggins together and fix your street. The Eskom narrative is so blatant we are being groomed as if we're in an abusive relationship. Well, we are, but that's another story. See, we have forgotten how enraged we were at stage 1 and stage 2. This week, we were happy with stage 4 because stage 6 punched us so hard we were thrown to our knees. During our stage 6 meltdown, the sun taunted with a heat wave as if to say, duh. Groomed nation. Here's something funny though. Have you ever asked yourself why we have never had stage 3 or stage 5? Is there a bias against odd numbers? Eskom have been busy though. There was a blitz on late payers and some people threw tantrums and a hotel had the lights switched off after an unsettled 2 million rand bill. Churches and even consulates had their lights turned off, but why wait so long? I think they finally hired a debt collection agency because there is a busy bunch of brand new heavies roaming these streets. Not quite a tiger though. Mining activists want to shut down Richards Bay because of the coal being exported to Europe. Their thought process is that we can no longer be powerless at the expense of other countries. I don't think we should shut it down, just take the coal to Eskom and make them use it. Or better still, and I've said this before, take back Eskom. Kick the whole lot out and send in those that can do the job. And then there was this. Zuma, back in court, about Ramaphosa. I told you there was more. The matter postponed, another great South African word, until May. And I swear the only reason it was even on our TV screens was because the woman who I was besotted with, Mshololo, sat right next to Zuma as his counsel. Mshololo was the tiger of a woman who gave us hope in the Senzo Miyiwe case. She's the one who called all Senzo's friends complicit in his murder.
Number 2, Kelly Kumalo.
And there she was, our tigress of Senzo, sitting next to Obaba. I suppose tigers need to eat, right? I'm also happy to tell you that apart from a nap, Zuma looked quite fit. Another great analogy. The prosecution rests. The judge pointed out that there's COVID about and perhaps the team and gallery were sitting a little close. He failed to add, next to a terminally ill man. It was all giggles after that though. Giggles and shiny photos of Zuma and his team and a big fuss about the judge's red clothes. Apparently that means this was a criminal case. Yawn. By the time I'd wasted that hour of my life, I wanted to join Sheba. Earlier in the week, President Ramaphosa won that interdict we had a sinking feeling about, so of course more court appearances are due. Don't bother watching this space, it's a waste of your precious time. I'll do it for you. I found a weird post on my travels through the media mayhem. Duduzile Zuma, daughter of the ex-president, wrote this. My brother Julius Malema, when you become president next year, do you expect me to call you His Excellency President Julius Malema, or can I still call you Jay? She also changed her biopic to We See You, the slogan of the insurrection. Seems things are going well at the RET camp, apparently. There was the back-to-school show reel across social media and matric results featured across most of the mainstream media. Angie Motsefa says they aced it. I'll wait for the analysis to unpack exactly what that means. Did they ace it or did they D&E it? There was some incredible matriculants though, and kudos to the class of 2022. What adversity you have endured. Tigers, every one of you. Back to our streets, and parades made headlines as riots turned to arson and the mayor's house was set ablaze. Yep, we are there, folks, burning down the house, and we're going to be swimming in the president's swimming pool next. Water shedding protests, load shedding protests, and many of us putting our heads to good work. Let's fix this. We don't need politics. We would have done a better job with Sheba. We'll do a better job here. In Joburg CBD, a foreign national was assaulted and killed by police. The place became a war zone of rubber bullets and rocks. Apparently, the Tanzanian man was a drug dealer. The police say he swallowed his wares and that's why he died. Many called for the EFF to intervene. They didn't. There was also a call for national shutdown. Stop boring us and get on with it. We've been shut down for 3 years at least. We want to work. We want quality of life. We deserve it, and we will have it. Regardless of your political killings, your theft on Charlotte McTrekker Hospital, and the diesel you keep stealing from Eskom, we've seen it all, and we have juggle oats in all of us. We really can do this. Put Tiger in our tanks. If there's one international story, that's more than enough, right? It's a biggie. Jacinda Ardern said she no longer has enough in her tank. The Prime Minister of New Zealand told us that she will be your own kind of leader, one who knows when it's time to go. Yeah, they don't make them like you, ma'am. A proper tiger. I'm Tonya Curry, and thank you for scratching the surface with me at Acumen Media.